Welcome to the Key of C Jam Tracks. This is part of Level 2 from InsideOutOnline.com. You can download the free guidebook. We're in Level 2 Key of C. Today we're going to do a few chords from the Key of C. The chords we're going to do are C to D minor, to C over E, to F major 7. I want to talk about a couple of those chords. You should already know C. You should already be working on D minor. It's kind of a weird, delicate sounding chord. Let's talk about the C over E. There's two ways to play the C over E. First, what does it mean? Anytime you see a letter over a letter, the first letter is the chord. It's a C chord. Okay? It's a C chord. If you want to leave it at that, you can leave it at that for now. But what the C over E means, the E represents the bass note of that chord. Everything about it is a C chord, but in the bass end, in the lowest end of that chord, we want to hear an E note instead of a C note as the bass. This would be, if I strummed from here, the C note down, that would be a traditional C. Here's one way we can play a C over E. It's simply still this shape, but what do we got up here? We got an E string, a low E string. So it would be like this. Now, over chords tend to not sound great by themselves. It's all about the context of the chord before it and the chord after it that makes it sound like it makes sense. It's kind of like jazz or something. If you just captured a picture, an audible picture of a moment of jazz, it might sound like really weird. Of course, jazz generally does to most ears. But if you were to hear it in context with the chords around it, it's like, okay, that sounded kind of cool. Let me show you another way to play the C over E, and it's the one that we're going to focus on today. It's a C chord, but we're looking for a low E. Well, we got the low E string, but we also have an E note right here. It's a higher E note. So literally not using the top two strings. Okay? And if you can take that finger off and just focus in on that note, then you technically have a C over E. We have a much more kind of a delicate, simple sounding mid-upper range chord there. But if that's what you're going for, it'll sound cool. For example, this chord progression we're doing. It's C to D minor to C over E to the F major 7. If you work it right, it sounds pretty cool. Maybe a hammer on. Pretty cool, right? And it sounds delicate. We're not rocking out here. We're playing a country song or something like in a verse where you want to be simple and not big and jangly. Let's talk about the F major 7. Well, there's a couple ways we can do that too. If you're just playing the four strings down to the bottom, you can just do this stair step chord where the high string is open. And that's where the major 7 comes in. I'll talk about that in a second. Okay, so we've got this 4-string chord. Now, if you wanted to go a little bit bigger and bolder, or you want to connect it to the C chord even more, you can keep that note, but push it with your pinky and do the third finger on top. So now we have a 5-string chord. Technically an F major 7 over C. But C is already in an F chord, so it's not going to sound crazy weird just to have that C note in your F major 7 chord. The rule of the major 7, I'm going to throw this out there. The rule of the major 7 is, what chord are you playing? And you're going to play in the high range, and the higher upper range, not the low, but the high upper range, a note that's a letter behind the chord you're playing. Okay, that sounds crazy complex, but listen to this. F major 7. What's the letter behind F? A, B, C, D, E, F, E. We have a bright E string high on the high end. So instead of playing that barred F that's so difficult, you can round that out and let that E string play through. And not only does it sound cool, but it's easier to play. I call that a type 2 chord. Type 2 chords are simpler chords that we play sometimes in place of a traditional type 1 chord. Type 1 chords are traditional, plain major minor chords. Now we have a little color in the F. Alright, let's try this chord progression. You ready? Find that C. The chord progression is C, D minor, C over E to F major 7. And we're going to double the rhythm up. It'll be like this. And we're going to start over on C. If you want to, you can choose which F you do. You can have double paired up here, or you can do just that one. You can choose which C over E you do. So you could go C to D minor and just come back to C and just let that boom, that low E string play. And then that'd be an easy transition from that C over E to that F major 7 with a C in it. Here's what I'll say. When you play an F chord, don't let the low E play. It totally messes up the chord. This sounds nice with the high E. It's not an F over E chord. It's a F major 7, and the major 7 is an E note, and we need that in the high range. And all of a sudden the E sounds good with the F chord. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, C, D minor, C over E, F major 7, mute that low string, C, D minor, C over E, F major 7. Now I'm going to simplify it and bring it more down to a real nice pick strum hybrid. Talk real quick about some simple moves you can do in the key of C. On the C chord, bring in this second finger on and off. Da, da, adds a little motion to that chord. D minor has some that it does real nicely, specifically this one. Or the high string. Sounds nice. The F major 7 has a similar thing as the C, where this second finger. Try adding that to your rhythm. Remember, it's better to be simple and right than to try to be too complex and be messy or distracting. Get good at simple. My name is Jacob Paul with Inside Out Studio. Definitely go to InsideOutOnline.com and download the guidebook. Follow the videos there, and I will see you on the next video.